Had to do things just, let me see, let me get my sound right. Had to do had to do things just a little bit different, but it's still the N.y.a show episode 110. If I'm not wrong, yeah, N.y.a show episode 110. Hope everybody had a great week as me myself went through the cycles of what we all go through per week. You feel me? I went through my strides. I did great things. I had great things happen this week, and I had not so great things happen this week. But at the same time, I'm back here. I made it back here for another week of the N.y.a show, and I appreciate everybody who continues to check out the show, just like I continue to check out everybody else. You know, things like that. I once heard a YouTuber just today say to all my YouTubers, keep doing your thing, keep pushing, keep going forward. So here we are. I wanted to start the day off with this story about 150K lottery ticket winner in Charlotte dies in murder suicide. Now, I say that when it comes to winning the lottery, as we all know, it always seems you go and find a little thread, a good Twitter thread right now, where it just talks about the countless times where people who won or hit the lotto mysteriously die, or circumstances right after the lottery, or not too long after, always ended with this person not being able to see the fulfillment or whatever their life was to be prior to hitting the lottery. Like, for example, there was this one story I did a while ago about a guy who was he was a lottery winner, won for some big money not too long ago, and then he ended up like murdering his girlfriend or something like that. Just continuously stories like this, and I often wonder, what's the ulterior motive? Is it that much hate in your heart that you decided that, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do? It's like a L. It's like the biggest L ever. So look at this story here. Something that I wanted to talk about. A young lady by the name of 23 no, she's a 23-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina. She was a victim of murder suicide. I blank that word out. Monday night. 4 months after winning the lottery, 4 months after hitting the lottery. And I say blur that word because I've heard that this certain S word, it's a trigger in your Twitter, and not your Twitter, but on your YouTube, on your TikTok, that S word. So I'm trying to not use it. Y'all can read the screen and see what the word, but it was a murder and someone else took their life Monday night, 4 months after this young lady hit the lottery. This young lady, let's give her some grace as she rests in peace. dionyahtruelovethompson and her date, they came out of a bar near the Wood Robert Brewery over in North Carolina. Then they headed towards their car. A 33-year-old eliehugonoel pulled up in a red vehicle, got out and began shooting multiple times at the two. And Thompson, she died. This was her ex. Her ex came up, found her at coming out of the bar with her date, and opened fire, killing her. And the young lady had attempted to break up with Noel and feared he would harm her, so she moved to a different city to escape him, and somehow he was still able to get his hands on this young lady. I found out where she was, ended up taking her life. Of course, a bar manager said they weren't aware of the shooting, what was going on. A customer who was on the patio had seen it. The manager said they came back in and shot, panicked. Oh, I can't imagine coming in, trying to report and seeing something like that, saying something that someone had got shot, and some of my bar staff grabbed me from my office down to police. This happened the night before Valentine's Day. This lusty kind of thing going on in this young man's head when it came to the decision that he decided to take when Mr. Noel shot and killed Miss Thompson during the incident outside of the club, and then at the end of the day, he ended up taking his own life. So there's nobody to really, those the true ones suckers, because it's like they don't even give you the opportunity to get no justice or no peace, no nothing, because they just go ahead and just got you. I swear that's like when people do that, it's like the ultimate gotcha, because it's like, I'm not even going to give you an opportunity to try and spit on me, talk about gotcha, I'm out, just like that. Big ball decisions. In October of 2022, the young lady won. She was announced that she was the winner after she scratched off a $5 scratch off in the 7-Eleven, winning 150. But after Uncle Sam came through, she left with 106. Her family explained that she graduated from West Charlotte High School and described her as funny, joyful, and someone who enjoys socializing and cooking. So rest in peace to this young lady who unfortunately lost her life due to someone who she previously had a relationship with, maybe in no connection to her hitting the lottery, but it is in a connection to the relationship that they had to each other. And apparently this dude couldn't hold his emotion over that. He felt like that was the way to go, and then took his own life. Sucker move. Tech layoffs. Let's see, big tech's massive layoffs will come back to haunt them. In this story, they talk about someone named Thud Dang, who was a senior in Minnesota in college, data scientist, arrived in New York, and she was looking to go to a holiday party with her soon-to-be company. The company was a high-tech startup that had flown her out to an event, you know what I'm saying, had a good time, drinks, they partied to the night over. But as the glamour and everything wore off, she got really worried because then she saw a series of layoffs at Amazon, Meta, and other startups. And she was at a startup company that she was about to start with. It turns out that she was right. In the new year, the company laid off a swath. Like they laid off a good percent of her they staff, and they told her that her start was delayed indefinitely. It's unfortunate because it was her dream job, but she also on a visa from Vietnam, and if she can't get a job offer, within the 3 months. So when she out of school, they won't want her to return back home to Vietnam. So now, over in Silicon Valley, over 100,000 jobs were slashed in the past 6 weeks due to hiring so much during the pandemic. Things are slowing up. Things are not panning out because of the current so-called, leading into a recession here, that people aren't spending, things aren't going how they want to. So it's a lot of layoffs, and these big tech companies are letting people go. So this story, for the most part, is just saying how the professors, people graduating, they saying, hey, all the top ranked engineering schools said that they noticed that people like Amazon and Google, they weren't at the fairs, they weren't seeing them there like they seen them there, and they usually looking for senior positions when they want you to come in. They want senior position for what they are hiring for, but they are letting off a lot of people that they may not see as useful in their eyes at this point. And now they say that these young people are being directed to go into government industries and things like that in order to try and come up with better opportunities for themselves, since they're not able to get into the tech industry because IT right now is letting people go. But then outside of Silicon Valley, there are plenty of industries that are not as that are going unaffected by the downturn of what's going on with tech. They still want coders. So you got people that are coming into jobs like government agencies, they're up 36% for entry-level software, as well as construction sector is up 28% more. So that's just over a third of the class of 2023 said that given the economic uncertainty outlook, they're looking and considering industries that they hadn't thought of before, because like, I got to get in where I fit in. And you can also get into government, you can get into construction sector, doing coding, doing anything tech related. And when stuff do swing over, if you want to run back to Google and all of them, go ahead and do that. That'll be fine. You'll have a resume. You wouldn't have been sent around on your ads or got kicked out of the country or anything like that during that time period. So I think that when times do shift back, a lot of people are going to think back to these times when the big tech companies, even though a lot of people are going to run back to them, like if they start hiring, they're going back for the massages, the free lunches, all the good stuff that they offer when you work for the big tech companies. A lot of people going to fold and go right back. But this could come back to bite them when certain people say, you know what, when stuff got bad, I need something steady. And when things got bad, the IT world, Google and all them, they turned their back. They let us go. So I'm going to go into another sector of coding and things involving tech, and hope that it's a better outcome when things get rough, because as you can see, the tech companies, they letting people go. Now, my last story of the night is going to be Libya marks 12-year anniversary of the revolution that ousted Muammar Gaddafi. So Gaddafi, as everybody knows, Gaddafi. Friday marked the 12th anniversary of the 2011 uprising that they witnessed in their capital, Tripoli. The residents took over the streets to celebrate, saying that, decorated with national flags and lights. They want to congratulate the people and saying that God willing will grow to be better and better if God allowing. Next year we will have a government elected by the entire Libyan people, and Libya will unite and become one state. This is what they're saying as they celebrated. This was just a couple of days ago. The anniversary of the uprising comes amid the continual political stalemate and government division since they couldn't have an election since 2021. So now, even though we feel like, NATO and things were involved, y'all came in and did whatever y'all did. Here we are 12 years later. How are we looking at real progress if these people still, since 2021, it hasn't been an election. Like, they literally haven't had an election. The people that were in power are kind of like, we're going to split this whole thing up eventually and do what we want to do, because at the end of the day, we not getting down with this full party thing. That's why at the end of the day, you can say what you want when it comes to how things go down over here. You got to keep some type of structure that keeps paying out and does right by people in the midst of them being corrupt or anything that you think that they may be. Because as you can see in places where you go in and you just try to get a corrupt person out, but you don't necessarily do what's needed to help the people to maintain and do something better. I don't think that 12 years later, after Gaddafi is gone, that Libya looks in the mirror and says, especially when they don't even have a subjugated whole government leader, and you say, yo, that's real. I know it may have been different accomplishments that the people feel have happened over the last 12 years. Those I do not know about. But if you're just looking at what happened there 12 years ago and you look at it now and you're saying, yo, there's still no elections, things aren't going how they want for the people urgently, you know what I'm saying? And people need help. So here we are 12 years later, and what do we really got to show for it? And I wanted to also look at this other article that came out in 2021 when they were talking about 10 years since the death of Gaddafi, since he was assassinated, that they had just got over a year-long ceasefire, and Gaddafi was ruled Libya for 42 years. That's a super long time to be in charge anywhere. By that time, you may want to try to go in a different direction. But here we are all these years later, and you got a government that's divided, not fully a government running together at all. And then guess what? They're still divided by the resources and the government agencies that secretly back each individual side of the government that is over in Libya. It's the N.y.a show. Let me know what your thoughts are on these stories. 100K lottery winner loses her life 4 months after she got her big payout due to emotions, feelings, and things of that nature. This young lady is gone, and the person that was with them, of course, they didn't give their final state, but they were injured. They were still injured through a hell of bullets. Then you got the tech giants that when things do get better, how many people are going to run back to the tech companies and just apply and get these jobs? Or are you going to stick with the companies that you do manage to get with when you do graduate, like they say, in government sectors and in the construction sector, construction sector? So how those things are going to go. And here we go, 12 years after Gaddafi over in Libya, over in Africa, where this country, with the help of NATO 12 years ago, got rid of a leader there. And now here we are 12 years later, and it's still no clear-cut leader, and that's never a good sign. And if it's supposed to be elections held there, and it's been over a year or so, and there's been no elections, that's a huge problem, because who could imagine that even happening over here? You know, I think that's the breakdown of the democracy itself. If we can't even get elections, we can't get on one accord to have a ordered election. It's the N.y.a show 110. Let me know your thoughts on the show, and I appreciate it, everybody. Appreciate it.